Who is Jack Kent Cooke?
Jack Kent Cooke. It's my Uncle Jack.
Uncle Jack.
Uncle Jack?
Uncle Jack.
He's an angel.
The most amazing person who ever lived.
And in my life, who he has become is sort of that uncle who is able to help me do the things that I really would not be able to do otherwise.
Like, imagine someone, that you didn't know, just putting in $20,000 in your mailbox and just walking away, never having met you, times 1,000. And that's pretty much what, Mr. Cooke did.
It's just incredible to me that this person would live, a huge chunk of everything he owned to help these people that he'd never get to meet, that he'd never know, that would never be able to sit. I'll never be able to sit across from him and say thank you.
Jack Kent Cooke is a man who believes in people who were told that their dreams were not worthy. That is Jack Kent Cooke.
I don't think Dad graduated from high school. He went to high school, but I don't think he actually graduated. It was during the Depression, and my grandfather, his father, lost his job, and so my father had to get to work. And my father had married my mother, and they had to support, at that time, my brother and me. He is a classic example of being self-educated. And he was educated better than if he went to Yale and to Harvard and to Oxford.
Clearly, Mr. Cooke was able to achieve a lot on his own without a lot of education, formal education, experienced a lot of personal difficulty in his youth, did not have a whole lot of resources, and yet was able to make it.
I know he did go through a lot. He sold encyclopedias, and then he owned the Washington Redskins. He is the epitome of persistence. He is the epitome of perseverance and success.
He valued hard work more than anything. And also, what was most important to him, you could have the best education in the world, you could be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever you wanted to be. If you didn't have common sense, to him, you didn't have anything. So he was all about common sense, hard work, and ambition.
Why do we have a foundation in my father's name? I think that he wanted to give a little bit back to society.
Mr. Cooke believed that there were numerous kids that, for circumstances beyond their control, had lost their enthusiasm, had lost their determination, but were really truly bright kids and that could accomplish a great deal if given a little hand.
The original concept of the foundation is giving graduate scholarships and college scholarships.
And it evolved from graduate scholarships to the young scholars because he said, gee whiz, if they don't make it through high school, how are they going to get to college? And how are they going to get to graduate school?
Our staff, our people work very, very closely as mentors, guiding the young people, working through problems with them, helping them along the way. And I think that's becomes as important as the money.
That's one thing I appreciate. They're not just there for you academically, but also, personally, if it's needed.
You're around people that genuinely believe in you. And there's something incredibly moving about that. There's something humbling and touching about someone that looks at you and goes, I believe in you.
I'm definitely a part of a community of fun, entertaining, intellectually gifted, hardworking individuals, both from the staff and from the scholars.
It is the relationships that I have with other scholars that really makes me, the money's great, but it's the friendships and stimulation, and also being told that your dreams are worth something.
The young people always dream, you know. It may be they want to be a rock star, but they also have other dreams, that they want to be a veterinarian or they want to be a doctor or whatever the dreams are. And this is a way to fulfill those dreams.
I do love music. I love it so much, and for me, music is the most honest expression of myself.
No, I don't. I don't know what it's like to be normal by society's definition of the word. First, I didn't realize I had a disability. I just felt like one of the kids. And then when it hits you, it hits you hard.
My father's been incarcerated all of my life, in and out of jail. And right now, he's currently in jail in Georgia. So that was another issue.
I grew up in a circus family, and my parents were, I guess they were counterculture generation, so my dad was a tune-in, turn-on, and drop-out kind of guy. And he was a professional juggler. I often joke that I had to run away from the circus to go to college.
I'm gonna go to college, period. But I'm gonna have to take out a lot of student loans, and I'm probably gonna be in debt for the rest of my life. So that's when it hit me that I can't do this on my own, at least not comfortably.
I am a quintessential American with a hodgepodge of, German and Norwegian and Nez Perce lineage. So, you grow up on a reservation, it's a bleak existence. Opportunities don't really happen on the reservation. So to be a gay Jewish kid in the middle of Idaho, it's not a good time.
I grew up in Tunisia, and in Tunisia, certain topics you don't talk about it. And eventually, because of my rebellious way of asking things, I got this message that I was once a diamond and became a charcoal, simply because I wouldn't follow the general rules. And to hear this sentence was a way to tell me I don't love you anymore. It hurt me a lot, yeah.
I had been through a lot of things in my childhood. I had been in a group home and I had been in foster care when I was younger. So when I got out of high school, I basically said I need to survive. First place for me was the military. So 19 years old, I went right into the service. But I was discharged, so therefore I didn't have the opportunities for college. I basically got out of the service and then, as I put it, kind of went with the working poor.
Honestly, it would be poverty. Poverty, not having, not just enough, but just not having. That's where I'd leave it, not having, and still trying to maintain the dream, still trying to press forward, still trying to believe when you don't have. That's been the hardest part of the journey, but interestingly enough, it's also been the thing that has driven me the most.
That letter from the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation saved my life.
I really can't imagine what my life would be like without this scholarship. It's completely changed the trajectory of my life.
I would probably have been stuck still at school, would have taken several more years to graduate, and I would not have had the grades that I had because I would have had to put much less time into my projects and a lot more into working and finding ways to survive.
I'd be lost. I'd be lost. I'd be a statistic. Yeah, that's what I'd be, a statistic.
Having the foundation behind me and all these wonderful people has taught me, you are going to do great things. And it's just given me the ultimate confidence that I need to know that I can do anything.
My life from this point on, because of Jack Kent Cooke, is going to be completely different. The life of my children, because of Jack Kent Cooke, is going to be completely different. My grandchildren, it's going to go on forever.
There's one thing I discovered about American history, it's the Declaration of Independence. And I think it's this idea that education opens up possibilities for freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
I've talked to scores, hundreds of our scholars, and I'm always so encouraged when, without prompting, they ask me, what can I do to help? What can I do to give back? What can I do to repay this great kindness that Jack Kent Cooke has bestowed upon me?
I really do believe that I can help out other people with music. And the scholarship has really helped me with that, helped me believe that there's more you can do. It's not just black and white. It's not performing or teaching. It's not performing and teaching. It's infinite possibilities.
I either want to research and help people, discover things that would help them in their daily lives, or to give back to my community and teach.
I'm definitely sure I want to contribute to the human condition wherever I am, because I see myself as a world citizen. So I see much more myself as a person that has a responsibility toward whoever is around.
I've been helping people in every way I can, and never being bitter about my own circumstances, but saying, well, how do I change these circumstances? How do I help other people change their circumstances?
I always wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger, and then I thought about being a justice, a Supreme Court justice. I'm like, why don't I go all the way?
I don't know. I know right now I couldn't be a Supreme Court justice. I know like if someone were to put me there today, I would probably not do a very good job. But I know that I'm capable of becoming that person one day. I know that if I work hard and that if I surround myself with people like the scholars in the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation, like the staff of the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation, people who are full of passion and knowledge and conviction, if those are the people that I spend my time with, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna grow, and one day hopefully I'll be that person.
All I know is I'm gonna go away for a while, a few years. I'm going to see what I'd like to see, maybe what I won't like to see. I'm going to experience what I wouldn't experience staying in the Rio Grande Valley. And I'm gonna go back and I'm going to help the valley prosper. I'm gonna help my people, my community.
I'll be doing what I love, that is helping people. With regard to the format, I'm going to law school and I know I'm gonna be getting a JD, but I leave it open in a sense to see where and how I'm gonna accomplish that. So the fortune cookie would say he is going somewhere. That's how I'd leave it. Great. Somewhere great. Exclamation. Yes.
Legacy. Legacy, I think, is very, very heavy.
Now that's a very interesting word. Everybody uses it as if it is a remembrance of somebody. But the fact is, I think, that legacy is a gift. The word legacy means gift.
I feel like legacy is about, 1 part success and like 5 parts helping others.
I look at it through my disability standpoint then, because the beginning of the word legacy is leg. And so I guess it just means the footsteps that you've already taken, and then, how big your footsteps are to fill.
Legacy is having left a footprint in the sand, and it doesn't get washed off.
Legacy to me means sort of what you leave behind, but in a positive way. So like Mr. Cooke's legacy is his investment in us all the scholars and what we're doing, what schools we go to and how we do there and how we're going to fare in the real world and the things we're going to achieve, hopefully great things.
Jack Kent Cooke Scholars are not chosen because we sit around. We're chosen because we're motivated and we give back. And you can give back in so many ways. Time looks different for everyone, and service looks different for everyone. But we all have a common goal, and that is to make the world a better place.
I think that's what legacy means. It's what have you done? What have you contributed that has a lasting impression for years, for decades, and for centuries to come?